Hey, what's up, GDS family? Grand Rising. All praise be to the Most High. So, as I'm sitting here just preparing to start my Saturn day, cleansing my energy, um, calling my energy back to me, calling my power back to me, I lit some frankincense. A couple things that go through my mind. One of them being, when you light things like incense, when you're lighting incense or like Palo Santo, right? When you're lighting it with sacred fire, right? It's considered a burnt offering. There's lots of different burnt offerings too. Smoking weed, it's a burnt offering. And intentions are very, very important. Setting your intentions, like setting my intention for this to cleanse my energy. Another interesting thing too is this device right here. This device, it's a portal. It's a portal for me to you. It's a portal anywhere. That's why it's important to be conscious of what we consume, what we watch. And it's all about your mind, your beliefs too. In the Bible, when Yeshua healed people, a lot of times, it was just simply spoken in a word: stand up, rise, open your eyes. It's the belief, it's the knowing. It's already been done, right? I can cleanse your energy through here, through this. You don't have to physically have it. You can set your attention that that's what it's doing, and we can both align on that. When two or more are gathered, as the Bible tells us, when two or more on the same thing, when two or more are in agreement. What are you agreeing to today? Are you agreeing to positive things, or are you agreeing to the not so positive? Are you choosing to reign in heaven and bring in heaven on earth by living in heaven, by not being worried about the chaos of the world, the chaos of your life? What's interesting, what goes through my mind is Saturn Day. The Vikings, right? The Vikings were some of the cleanest people. They were some of the cleanest. They took Saturday, and that was the day to clean their clothes. That was their day to bathe. That was their day they used oils and natural scents, and they smelled good, and they were clean, a lot cleaner than Europeans. What's interesting is we have found plenty of old Viking ships from a very long time ago, still intact, still in good condition, right? Now, that was from a long time ago. Now, let me ask you a question. How many slave ships have we found? How many are still preserved? History is written by the victors. And a lot of times the victor, they want to stay victorious in the future, and they achieve that by distorting history, by distorting the facts, by controlling the narrative, by changing people's, slowly through generations, they slowly change the narrative more and more drastically until it's, I don't even know what the fuck that is. That doesn't even resemble what happened. but it's their narrative. And you start studying into things about, like, you know, Tartaria and the Moors, and you look at all the structures that are here, all the ancient structures that are here, and you look at the civilizations that built them, and then you look at the history, and you look at the narratives, and the narratives don't match. It doesn't line up. They're not good liars. They're not good liars. You know, you look at the old buildings and the way that they just, they added time. They added time. They add time. They erase information. They try to erase lineages, whole bloodlines. But you know, slaves, yes, some did come over on ships, but not like they said. They were already here. And not as slaves, as kings, as royalty. When you look at some of the old documents of the United States, and you look at what happened during roughly around the Civil War time, and people were required to choose how they were going to be labeled as their ethnicity, right? And there used to be no distinction between black and indigenous. It was one and the same. And that's when they started dividing, because it all starts, you know, they want to split us and divide us every chance they get, and they want to distort history and facts. And so they made them choose. They take their land, they take their history. You know, the Confederate flag used to be flown. It wasn't the Confederates' flag. It was an indigenous flag. Has ties to ancient tribes. And you know, part of changing their narrative is taking anything that represents the past, anything that represents what they don't want to be remembered, and they completely distort it, and they throw other meanings to it. They throw negative meanings onto positive things. And then they also do other things, such as flooding the search bars. So when they anticipate people starting to want to learn about a certain thing, or when they anticipate information coming about certain things, they'll purposely put out things mislabeled or purposefully identified with the same keywords or names. And so when you go to type things into the search bar, the first things that pop up are the false narratives, or whatever they want to just take your attention to. And it's one of their biggest tactics. Oh, but narratives, you know, as Putin revealed, you know, the artifacts he revealed proving that Yeshua was black, right? The Catholic Church could have done that a long time ago, but they don't want to, because it goes against their narrative. The Smithsonian could have done that a long time ago, but it goes against their narrative. Just like, you know, they erased dragons. You know, dragons were, why would this shit be in dictionaries and encyclopedias? Why would it be in all those books from the past? Why would we rewrite it as facts and history if it was fictional? We wouldn't have. We didn't. Why is the dragon? Why was it a zodiac sign? You know, they weren't dinosaurs. They were dragons. You know, there's a lot of things. You know, the rise and the shift of consciousness, it's a repeating pattern. It's a repeating pattern. And if we don't, just like in our own personal lives, in the collective, if we don't get things right, we're forced to repeat them. And some people want to keep us stuck in karmic world cycles, I guess, because it's not just your life, it's everyone. They want to keep everyone dumb. They never want any of us to remember who we are, Simba. They don't want us to do that. They don't want us to do that. Remembering is a dangerous thing to the establishment. Remember. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that. You know, but when you go into filter through stuff and when you try to find the truth, a lot of times, you know, you're not gonna find the truth written in, you know, most of the time you're gonna know the truth as an internal thing, right? It's gonna resonate. It doesn't matter if you're hearing it, if you're seeing it, if you know, however it arrives to you. You know, first off is trying to limit how you're gonna get that information, but it's an inner knowing. It just resonates with you. It's unexplainable. You just know it to be true. But at the same time, you know, you can have an internal lie detector and just know, well, that ain't right. Something about that's off. Like, it's just a knowing. It's just like the math doesn't fucking math. The math doesn't math. The math doesn't math. But man, it's so silly. It's so funny too, because they're not even good about it. It's like they weren't even good about some of the lies and the cover stories, and they're not good at hiding it. It doesn't add up. You know, you look at these buildings that we were supposed to have created, is built. It's like, no, there's a reason why they say founded, because they found it. It's not built, because if it was built, someone would want to take credit for it, but they can't duplicate it because they didn't build it, and they can't do it again, so they founded it. They killed off civilizations. You know, the World Fairs. What were the World Fairs? The World Fairs was their final display of the Tartarian stuff that they wanted to hide, and they planned on destroying. And they destroyed it, and then they slowly gave us technology back at a price. What the fuck? What the fuck is that? What is on my roof? I had a squirrel on the roof the other day. It was on the van, and then it was on the van next to me, and then it jumped over, and then I heard him up there, and then I looked at it, and then he peeked his head down around the corner and in through the window. It was actually pretty fucking funny. 144 when I said that. It caught my eye. Yeah. I'm gonna get ready for my day. Hope you guys have a great day.